Marvel's Thunderbolts.
Asterisk.
Released not too long ago, and it's pretty damn good. Now, I won't lie, I was not excited for this movie at first. Why would I want to see a bunch of bootleg Captain Americas and some mercenaries fight freaking Superman? Where is my totally 100% street tier Spider-Man? But when the first trailer released, my interest did begin to slightly increase. And then when they dropped that A24 style trailer that released, that was the final nail in the coffin for me. I heard in a podcast or something that was actually made as a joke and was never meant to literally be released. But I'm glad they did, because that shit is straight gas. Thunderbolts
Asterisk.
is about a group of mentally and emotionally unwell anti-heroes embarking on a dangerous mission that forces them to confront all their dark corners and damages from their past for the sake of themselves and others. This group consists of Yelena, Red Guardian, John Walker, Bucky, Ghost, Bob, and I've always said that Marvel is at its best when they're not trying to do too much. Whether it's the stakes of the movie, the amount of crazy fights, or anything like that, on average, I believe some of Marvel's best works is usually about the more grounded characters. Movies like Captain America Winter Soldier, Civil War, and now Thunderbolts, asterisk, movies that don't focus on the most powerful character or the most high-stakes plot usually tend to feel more natural to me. Now, some of the movies that I did mention do indeed have high stakes and uber powerful characters, but I hope the things that I'm trying to say to you is making sense. I'm not the smartest, so I hope you get it. Because although you can have movies with high stakes and whatnot, you can't do it all the time, and especially not back to back to back to back for every character. Sometimes less is more. Now, with such a large cast of characters, it can be hard for movies to give each character enough time to be fully dived into, but this movie does a pretty good job of giving everybody some bread. Okay, it's a bit of a lie, but mostly everybody gets some bread. Mostly. Yelena, who is basically this movie's main character, gets a lot of bread, like their own basket full of bread. And I'm perfectly okay with this decision, because she is the best character in this group by far. With everything that has happened in her past, in the Red Room, and with Natasha, she fits this movie's themes perfectly. Also, it's Florence, so she's hot. But that aside, because that is not the most important thing, she's a super talented actress who puts her all into this character, and all the emotion is definitely felt through that screen. Not only that, but she's also very funny. But that goes for every character. So for characters later on, if I don't say that they're funny, just know that they are funny. But I'm just not saying that they're funny, because they're all funny. John Walker, who is probably my top 5 post-Endgame characters to be introduced, doesn't get the same amount of bread as Yelena does. However, the bread that he does get is utilized extremely well. So well that I was left feeling satisfied with what I got, but I also wanted more of him, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? It goes back to what I said about less is more. We don't get a lot of John Walker, but what we do get is done so well that it feels as if we get more. And his character was shown beautifully and it's easy to understand, but despite that, I still want more. I guess that's the best way to put it. And also, I feel that the greatness and the brilliance of his character is lost on a lot of people, so I do plan on making a video about him individually, because I feel like a lot of people don't understand him, even though he's one of the best characters that they've created, so stay tuned for that. Red Guardian is funny. Now, I know I said I wouldn't say that anybody else is funny, because I already said that everybody's funny. However, he's like really, really funny, so I feel like it's an injustice to not mention that he's funny. But what I like about him specifically is that due to him being the main comic relief of this movie, when he does get the moments to be serious and have emotional moments, it just hits harder because you're not used to that. So I like how they had that contrast, you feel me? Not my favorite character, but I still love him. Now, there isn't a lot to really say about the rest of the cast, except for Bob. But we'll talk about Bob later. All you need to know is that he is the plot, and he's a great character. Golden Retriever vibes and shit like that. Ghost didn't do shit. She was cool, has cool powers and whatnot, but in this movie, all she does is look cool and look pretty and look cool. She also gets like this stupid haircut. Technically a spoiler, but like, come on. Now, her story was explored in Ant-Man and the Wasp, which sucks, by the way, but still, you know, she ain't do nothing here from what I can remember that I feel like I need to bring up. Her suit looks cool. Bucky is sort of the same way, but in my opinion, it's a good thing. Now, a lot of people say that they wish Bucky had more screen time and that they wanted to see more of him in, is this a spoiler? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna put a spoiler warning here just in case. Matter of fact, screw it. From this point on, spoilers. I don't care. Spoilers from this point on. People wanted to see more of him in the void, but here's my thing, is that there probably wouldn't be much to see, considering the arc that every other character is going through in this movie. Bucky has already gone through that arc. He's already faced his past, he's healed from it, so I don't think it would make sense to show any more of him and his past than what we already got, considering he's already moved on from it. And if we did see him in the void, it probably wouldn't be that much of a reaction, mostly because he's already accepted it. He's gotten past it. The point of Bucky in this movie is to show the other characters the finish line, or to show us, the audience, the finish line for the rest of our cast of characters. So I think it was great. Now, the first antagonist that I can bring up is Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. I am not saying that again. Valentina is the person who interacted with all the characters, and we've seen her in Falcon and Winter Soldier and at the end of Black Widow. And I'm pretty sure we also saw her in Hawkeye as well. She's the person who brings the Thunderbolts, asterisk, tries to have them kill each other, obviously doesn't go well, and they become the Thunderbolts. Asterisk. I won't say too much more about that, even though we are in the spoiler section, but it's mostly just because I don't want to. Now, Bob is great. Bob fits the themes of this movie very, very well. He's just like Yelena, basically. This movie does such a good job at showing all these struggles that the characters go through and showing, you know, the mental state as well. This is definitely a movie about mental illness and depression, and the characters like Yelena, like Bob, and every other character in this movie, that is what they're going through, the issues that they're going through. And it feels so real watching it on the screen. When Bob does become Sentry, it is one of the coolest scenes I've ever seen, even though he absolutely just demolishes the Thunderbolt. Asterisk. It's such a cool scene, you know. It's nice to see powerhouses being powerhouses, you know. And you gotta appreciate the efforts of the team, though. They tried. They failed, but they did try. And then when he becomes the Void, it just feels so menacing. Yo, the scene, you know what I'm talking about, the scene where Red Guardian saves the girl and then the Void. Guess what? Yo, and I think by far the best scenes was definitely the scenes of Bob, Yelena, and the team in the Void, because it really shows the moment where they truly did come together and become that family. Now, you could say they became a family before, but I think, me personally, that's the moment where they truly became it. And then at the very end of the movie, they become the New Avengers. And I'm not gonna lie, I felt really weird at first about them becoming the New Avengers, but I think that's just because I'm like, it is like a pretty weak team minus Sentry, and because Bob is just Bob, the team is slightly a little weak, you know, compared to the original Avengers. But then I realized sometimes it's not about strength, it's about the team. So I'm okay with it now. And I guess it's also because they're anti-heroes, but I don't know. But yeah, so, and also the post-credit scene of the Fantastic Four ship. At first, again, I was not a fan, but then I realized that made me excited for the next movie that Marvel was making. I was already excited for it, but something about the post-credit scene gave me chills, which is something that I haven't felt in a long time when it comes to certain Marvel movies. So the fact that I felt that, because I guess like I was so used to like getting some crazy super cool post-credit scene, but getting a post-credit scene that advertised something that we're getting soon, like literally I think in a month or something, you know, I was like, whoa, that was actually a really smart idea. So now I like the post-credit scene. So yeah, overall it was a very good movie. I definitely enjoyed myself. One of Marvel's best products recently, and also one of their better products as a whole. So overall, I personally would give the movie a solid 8.5, maybe a 9 out of 10. I think I'm gonna stick with that 8.5 though. I love giving 0.5s. I don't know why I keep doing this, but yeah. So that is my review or conversation regarding Thunderbolts. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video about anything. Oh wait, I forgot to talk about Taskmaster. Okay, so about Taskmaster.